lovelies. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am Kishara, the queen of creative inspiration. And here in this space, we create to inspire. Now, if it is your first time joining me, welcome. I am a therapeutic art instructor and life coach, and we are here to go through this journey of life together to develop into our very best versions of ourselves. Now, today is day 13 of our 21-day forgiveness journey, and I'm going to be honest, today was a little bit tougher for me than yesterday was. So for day 13, it's all about healing and forgiving the relationships in the perspective that we have about men and the way we view, feel, and identify and connect with men in our lives, knowingly and unknowingly. Now, I had to sit and honestly reflect on how do I genuinely feel about men? And do I just feel this way about certain men? Or do I feel this generalized stereotype in regards to all men? Now, me and my life, I had two completely different spectrums of relationship with men, especially in regards to my family. On one side, I had loving, compassionate, supporting, nurturing male figures in my life. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I had men that I felt like rejected me, hurt me, devalued me, unsupportive of me. And that was in multiple relationships, not just in intimate relationships, but in family relationships, friendships, co-workers, pretty much any encounter that I had with a man, I had to identify what was it that I felt and believed about them that made me view them a certain way or engage in certain behaviors when I would be with them. Now, we all have gone through hurt and pain in our lives, but we've also had beautiful, positive experiences in our lives as well. And I feel like, I don't know if I'm just speaking for myself, but I feel like in general, we have the tendency of not necessarily showing the gratitude and appreciation for the beautiful relationships and the beautiful men and emotionally supportive men that we've had in our lives. And instead, we tend to focus on the negative. Now, yes, we have all gone through traumatic situations. Yes, traumatic, hurtful situations does affect you. They do affect the way you view yourself and the choices that you make consciously and subconsciously. However, it is our responsibility to identify that and release it and let it go, because if we do not, it's going to continue to resurface and just draw a whole bunch of mess and chaos into our existence, which is the complete opposite of what we want. If we've been hurt and we feel like we've been mistreated and especially rejected, then why would we put ourselves in the emotional state to constantly do that and then be surprised when we receive that outcome? Like, we thought that's why that happened. Now, we all have experienced rejection in our lives. Now, I had to identify with me personally that some of the things that happened to me when I was a child, some of the relationships that I had with when I was a child with men gave me attachment issues. I would be drawn to men that hurt me and mistreated me and manipulated me. However, I was so afraid of losing someone that I cared about and being alone and isolated and rejected that I just dealt with terrible situations and allowed them to continue and to persist just because I had fears of never being accepted or never having a man that's going to appreciate and support me. Now, on the other end, those negative situations in relationships that I was drawn into and engaged in and stayed in for years was my responsibility. No one told me or made me stay in those relationships. I did that. I could have left at any time. So it does not justify their actions and the choices and the hurt that they put upon us. However, we have to be honest that we allowed that to happen. Like, I could have left at any time. I did not have to allow the circumstances to get as traumatic as they were. And then I had to sit and think about why, one, was I drawn to these people? Why, two, was I willing to just endure all of this drama and disrespect just because of the way one or two people made me feel when I was a child? And to be honest, when we feel hurt and pain and through the lens of a specific person, especially when it comes out of a younger age, in childhood, and I realized that I was viewing all men, regardless of my relationship with them. It didn't matter if they were other family members, friends, intimate partnerships, co-workers. I was generalizing and stereotyping all men to be in this category of this one or two people that hurt me or rejected me or devalued me. And I had to be honest and realize that the reason why I was attracting these men was because of my perspective. Like, if I felt like all men were going to be disrespectful and unsupportive and rejective of me, then the men that did come into my life that showed me love and compassion, I did not trust them. I pushed them away. Internally, I just felt like it's only a matter of time before they hurt me, before they disrespect me, before they show their true self to me. And then I would end up ruining this situation all because of a made up perspective that I had towards them that didn't have anything to do with them. And that's not their fault. It's my fault. I cannot blame other people for situations that happened years ago that did not affect or concern them. So I had to be extremely open and honest and vulnerable about this, because when it comes in regards to especially childhood trauma and just emotional trauma in general, it's really hard to be honest about how we feel and to take some kind of ownership or responsibility for how things have transitioned in our life, because we feel as though they hurt us. I didn't do anything wrong. I shouldn't have to change this or change that or whatever. However, you do have to identify the situation and the circumstance and be honest and realistic of how you got there, why you got there, and why did you stay there. And if you don't like it, if you're not happy, then why aren't you leaving? Why aren't you making different choices? Why aren't you trying your best to be with and socialize with and have relationship with people that do not emulate those traits that you feel rejected towards? So I just really wanted to share that with you all. Now, I've been utilizing this book to help me along this 21-day journey. And what I love about this book is that she gets really deep and really makes us be open and authentic with the reflection questions that she asks. So I want to share with you 3 reflection questions, 3 personal reflection journal entries that I shared, so that I created, just to hopefully help to encourage and inspire you all to open up and allow yourself to begin the process of forgiveness as well. Now, this book is entitled Forgiveness, 21 Days to Forgive Everyone for Everything by Iyanla Vanzant. And I love this book because not only, does she dive deep and give experiences in regards to her relationships and how she overcame some of the perspectives that she has, but she also has like little meditations and prayers and stuff to get us into the right mindset to be able to be vulnerable and open and authentic. So first, I want to read the prayer that she has for today, for day 13, in regards to forgiving men, and then I'm actually going to share 3 of my personal reflection answers with you all. So here it goes. So, dear God, today I ask for and open myself to receiving healing and restoration of my mind, my heart, and all of my relationships with men. I confess that I have not always been kind or loving towards men. I confess that I have held judgments about men and against men. I confess that I have allowed unkind, unloving, judgmental thoughts and beliefs to infect my relationships with men. For this, I ask for and accept your forgiveness, and I forgive myself. Today, I ask that my heart and mind be open so that I will accept all men as your sons and brothers. I ask that you create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me so that my divine relationship with all men will be restored. I ask for the will to forgive and move forward in love. I lay down my weapons. I open my heart. I forgive. I let it be, and so it is. Amen. Now, let's get into these personal reflection questions, okay? So, the first one I want to share with you guys is I forgive my mind for thinking men are not reliable or trustworthy. Now, that thought and that belief derive from my childhood. It's amazing how most of our experiences, good or bad, derive from the things that we endured from childhood. We're carrying around subconscious trauma from our childhood because we felt vulnerable and we felt like we didn't have control over the circumstance, which is why I feel like we hold on to those emotions so that we feel like we can control them so that we don't feel that hurt and that pain anymore. Now, the second reflection question that I want to share with you is I forgive myself for judging men as dismissive and unconcerned about me or my feelings. That also derived from an earlier age in my life. And by accepting that belief and that thought process, I actually drew in people that reflected that feeling and emotion inside of me. Like, what you focus on, what you believe, what you perceive is what you attract. So if I believe that all men are dismissive and unconcerned about my emotions and my feelings, then either I'm going to attract people that make me feel that way, or I'm going to make choices out of wanting to defend myself and out of wanting to protect my emotional and mental state that I'm going to basically ruin the situation in regards to the positive and turn it into the relationship that I already perceived. If I'm pushing away a positive person because I mistrust them already before they've even done anything, then of course, eventually they're going to dismiss me and my emotions because I'm not being fair or considerate of them and how they feel. It's not right for them to judge me, and it's not right for me to judge them, especially when they aren't the ones that hurt me. I should not even give them an opportunity if I'm not even ready to accept and receive them for who they are, and to not place the blame on them for what other people did to me that has absolutely nothing to do with them. Now, the very last reflection question that I want to share with you all is I forgive myself for believing men always treat me unfairly. Yes, so as you can see, the consensus around all three of those reflection journal entries were all pretty similar, and they all boil down to a few handfuls of situations where I felt like I was treated unfairly and unjust, which honestly is an insult to all the loving and positive relationships that I've had in my life, predominantly with my family. I had an extremely loving and caring and supportive family. I had uncles and grandfathers and all kinds of beautiful relationships with men that I knew loved, supported, and cared for me and nurtured me emotionally and mentally and spiritually. However, I rejected the positive and focused more so on a few situations that hurt me and allowed those situations to just continue to fester, continue to grow, and honestly continue to destroy my emotional and mental state. Like, how can you be in a healthy relationship, or how can you have healthy friendships if you're holding on to bitterness and judgment? Just like Erykah Badu says, like literally, bag lady. Nobody wants to be around someone that's carrying all this baggage that has nothing to do with them. Now, they might even actually genuinely like you and see potential in you and want to be with you, but you're just going to push them away if you already mistrust them and you're just waiting for the opportunity to something to happen so that, you can protect yourself and leave and be like, oh, I already knew this was going to happen and they did the same thing as everyone else. No, you did the same thing that you have always did in the situations, which is why you got the same outcome. Now, I also always, when I'm thinking and praying and wanting to set my intention on what I want to bring in, I love to journal. I'm an artist, so I like to create and be creative and to think about and develop that strength and continue to tell myself that I have the ability to forgive while I create these beautiful artistic affirmations. So, for today, I created this piece, and as you can see, it's got a lot going on. So there was a lot of reflecting and a lot of thinking in regards to this piece. And yeah, I finished this off with a little heart in the middle, to really justify the fact that I am opening my heart up to receive and to release forgiveness towards the men that I had in my life. Now, if this blessed you at all in any sort of beneficial or positive way, please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to do this journey with me, then I will link down below the book so that you can do it on your own as well and join me into this journey so that we can bring about our best version of ourselves. And if you would like to support me and my channel, then you can definitely do so through donations, or you can visit my Etsy store so you can see and purchase some of my original artwork as well. Now, I thank you so much for joining me. I genuinely love and appreciate each and every one of you. Just know that you are capable of releasing this hurt and this pain. It's not doing anything but continually to hurt you. So please make sure you tune in tomorrow for day 14 of our 21-day forgiveness journey. So you guys be blessed, stay positive. Bye.